Good morning, everybody. I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama. Happy Earth Day. I'm out here. It's a beautiful, beautiful April day in South Central Texas. And to celebrate Earth Day, I want to show you my Monarch Way Station, this pollinator garden that I've got going with perennials. So I'm going to give you a quick tour, a couple of basic tips, how this all came to be. You can see the names of these plants down in the bottom, and then I'll do a quick list on realsimplemama.com. So good morning. Thank you for being here. It's definitely spring. We have birds flying everywhere and making nests, and people are out mowing their yards. So this is going to be sort of a quick and dirty video where I'm just listing everything that I've got. This is a weird space that has absolutely no shade. I'm in South Central Texas, which is the USDA Zone 8B, if you care. And when we bought this house, which honestly we moved in right before the COVID shutdown, when we bought this house, there was this huge zone and it was nothing but rocks, and it looked absolutely terrible. So, because we couldn't go anywhere or do anything, we decided to just plant plants instead. Since then, and I'll zoom in on my sign, this has become a certified Monarch Way Station because of all the pollinator plants that I have and the butterfly milkweed. I'll be doing throughout the season some videos specific on some of these plants because I think they're particularly beneficial. So I'll start with just saying that I've got a couple of different water features here. We've got a kitchen window there, so we wanted to be able to see all of our little neighborhood birds and squirrels and all of the things. I'll also say that I'm gradually pruning this down. I was not in a hurry to prune the dead off of these plants because I needed to make sure we were done with our freezes. If you're okay with your garden looking kind of ugly, it's better to keep the dead on your plants until, for us, you're in late spring like March, just to be sure, because that dead growth, yes, even like the dead stems and stuff, will help hold on to heat and keep your plants from freezing. So with that being said, this is sort of a random let it grow wild zone, and what I needed from each of the plants as I was picking them, they needed to be able to handle the full sun, right? There's absolutely no shade here like ever. They need to be able to handle the full sun. You are going to have to baby most of these plants for probably a year, but that means after that 1 year, you've gotten their roots down deep, they've been established, they're strong, they're big, then you don't have to baby them anymore. I never water this garden anymore. Ever, ever, ever. The rain that we get here in South Central Texas is enough to sustain them because I did baby them when they were little and let their roots get down deep. But now when we're going to have a really hard freeze, I'll cover them. Other than that, I don't ever have to water these guys. So let's go. I have lost a couple of plants over the last few years, and because we're planning on moving before too long, I'm not going to put anything else in the ground. That's why you see a couple of random pots. So these are all perennials, which means they will come back year after year, and they all provide food, nectar, flowers for all of the pollinators. And that's not just butterflies, that's also bees, that's also hummingbirds. Did you know there are types of wasps that are actually beneficial? They are pollinators as well. There are some ants, like leafcutter ants, that can help your environment. So we've got random sunflower seeds and random other seeds that have come from birdseed that have sprouted. I do a lot of sage and salvia because they do really well here, but let me talk about the prominent guys as well. This is a Mexican bush sage here. It'll grow tall. It has the stacking, like towering blooms. This guy is super hardy, super relaxing. This is a lantana. Lantana grow in two types of ways. One, and you can see my red guy over there, will grow up and grow bushy. This one is more of a trailing lantana, so that's why she's in the front. And you can see she's spread all the way over here. We have rogue sunflowers, a geranium right here. This is another little type of baby salvia that's coming back up. This is my little water feature. I'll do a video on this one day. You fill this pot with water and give it a solar panel and it'll circulate the water. This is a gold esperanza. This is one of the superstars for Texas. They love the heat. This guy will grow 8 or 10 feet tall a season, and that's with me like pruning him down like 3 times. This guy is a monster. The blooms are beautiful. They are just, he's one of my favorites, and he's so easygoing, so chill. The pots here, 1, 2 are 2 bougainvillea. This is how you spell it. It's like 85 different vowels because it's French. Bougainvillea love to be ignored. They love the heat. They actually bloom more if you ignore them and don't water them very often. So it's kind of like it pays to neglect them almost. This is the Dallas lantana. I say it's Dallas lantana because, I'm sorry, I'm in my shot. All different kinds of lantana. They grow in different colors from white to pink to orange to red to purple. And so this color combination that you can see right there, this one's called the Dallas. Up here is another type of salvia. This is the Salvia Greggi. It's a nice compact plant. It's a plant that deer and other animals hate to munch on. This is a different kind of Esperanza right here, an orange Esperanza. This one doesn't get as prominent in the heat, but it's still a really good perennial, nice and low key. You can see more rogue sunflowers. This was a bougainvillea that I'm not going to replace. This guy right here is a goofy plant called the Greg's Mist Flower, and it is one of the few flowers that you can get as Texas perennials that are actually legit purple and not like we call it purple, but it's blue. As you can see, I planted one original bush and it's spreading all over the place, but they're really nice blooms. The blooms last for a while, and then obviously you don't have to worry about watering them and they'll spread and grow. As we go back through here, I've got a plumbago that's growing right there. And then we're leaving some random pollinating weeds and things back over here. In the back corner, this plant has two names. And I'll do a video later this summer once everybody's big and blooming. But because it's Earth Day and because now is the time to put stuff in the ground, I figured I'd show you everything. I also tried to plan what I'm showing you right now as the back of the butterfly garden, because that's what you see in the back from the street perspective. So these guys are going to be getting the tallest. The one that I'm pointing at right now, she is a monster and I adore her. She's called the Pride of Barbados, or the Mexican bird of paradise. They grow these huge, gorgeous tropical blooms. They look alien. I mean, they're just so cool. They look like they're from Avatar. And they are red and orange and yellow. There was also a pink version that I really, really want. This is a type in the middle, a type of Chinese fringe flower. The leaves will stay red like that, especially if you give them sun. And their blooms look like hot pink pom-poms. So another really cool pollinator plant. And I really wanted to have stuff in this garden that's not all just green. Like I wanted everybody to have different colors and different leaf textures and shapes and things like that. So the fringe flower just gives some really cool color. And then this ridiculous thing, this abomination, is called a flame acanthus. These blooms are really cool. They're a very tiny but very long red. She's not blooming yet. They just got fertilized last week. This one, as you can see, there are babies all back there. There's babies back over there. This guy is just crazy. This is another one of the favorites, especially for hummingbirds. And these blooms are super cool because when they bloom, I don't know if you can see that pollinating fly that's flying around. This one, you can pop the blooms off and you can suck the nectar out and it tastes really sweet. So just lots of cool little random things going on here. The last one that I'm going to show, because I skipped over her a minute ago, is, and like I said, I'm not keeping like you have to stay in your spot and you have to stay. I'm letting everybody spread and reseed. I just want this to go wild. The rocks in this area are, of course, a problem, especially in the hot summers. But I have this over here that has died against the wall. That's from birdseed. That's birdseed that's coming back up. I've got sunflowers all over the place. We're just letting it do what it's going to do. And I probably won't win Yard of the Month, but whatever. So this guy that's growing right here in the middle that's got the blooms, I'm trying to stay out of my own shot. This is a butterfly milkweed. I will do more content specifically on that. And you can see this video here about how we raise monarch caterpillars. Monarchs, of course, they're another heavy pollinator. We need them so badly for our environment, for our world. But what's stupid about the way they evolved is the monarch caterpillars. I'm not talking about the mama who's drinking the nectar when she's a butterfly. I mean the caterpillars when they're babies. They will only eat milkweed. So if we want the butterfly population to stay up, we've got to plant milkweed and have milkweed. This guy, as you can see, it died down to the ground, it reseeded, and I actually have babies that are spreading around, which is awesome. There are different colors of milkweed. This one is tropical milkweed, and it will have kind of like that lantana, orange and yellow and red blooms. There is a Texas milkweed that's just yellow blooms, but it's a milkweed because if you cut a stem, it will leak out of the stem with, it looks like milky blood. But I will do a separate video on butterfly milkweed. You can save your own seeds from the plants last year and grow them again. We're doing that. You can buy the plants at nurseries all around. They're not expensive. You can, of course, buy the seeds as well. But hopefully, if you are considering having some kind of pollinator garden, some perennial garden, number one, let it go wild. Number two, really know what USDA, if you're in the United States, what USDA zone you're in, how much shade, sun that's going to get based on where you're at. And know, even if it says, like here in Texas, if the plant says, oh, I'm a hardy perennial and I love full sun and blah, 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 they're going to need a break from the sun sometimes, especially when they're a baby. The first year that the plant is in the ground, you are going to have to do extra watering. You can't just leave it as a baby and ignore it. But the little label said, I know, that's once the plant is established. These plants, most of these guys took 1 year. So that was 1 summer and autumn of me having to baby them and water them. As you can maybe see, I have a drip hose that's been wrapped all around them. But after that 1 year, you've gotten their roots to go down deep, and now they're nice and strong. So we've got our bird houses there. We are feeding the wildlife. We bring out everything from sliced apples and oranges to all other kinds of things to support all of the animals that are around. But I'll do another video later in the summer when everybody's blooming like an idiot. But I wanted to show you now, especially if you're in like South Central United States around Zone 8 this spring, as early as you can. That's the time to get stuff in the ground. And that way they've got all year until winter before you have to worry about them getting frozen. So hopefully they get to buff up, they get to get nice and strong. So I'll do videos later just on the butterfly milkweed and how to make this cycling waterer that's right here. But if you've got any questions, drop them down. Remember, we've got this new playlist here on Real Simple Mama's YouTube channel called All Things Green, where we're going to talk more about growing your own food and houseplants and starting seeds and all kinds of stuff. So I'll be back soon.